You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. Wole, Ray, Jeezy, and Mo are your hosts. What's good, fellas?
How's it going, man? Congratulations to the whole area.
I've been calling it all season. I said this team was a playoff team since about week 5, and Wole, you've been fighting me ever since. Up until about 2 weeks ago, you started to come around. So what do you have to say for yourself now, sir?
I was wrong. Are you happy?
No, I don't want you to say that you are wrong. I'm just, as a fan, I feel like you should be excited, bro.
First off,
That's
happy New
all.
Year! Happy New Year to the listeners. First off,
Yeah.
secondly, yeah, I'm excited about it. It's an opportunity to get to the dance. I think anybody, even though the record is 7-9, they won the NFC East, and they're in the postseason. They're in the dance. They have an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So I think for a fan to say, "Oh man, they're 7-9 in the postseason, they ain't gonna do anything." At least you got the hope because you in the dance, right? And I think any fan would say, "All right, here we go. This is a chance." You know what I mean? So I don't think anybody gonna knock that, and I'm not gonna knock that. Why would I? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I? You see what's up, POB, man? Appreciate you, homie. You know what I'm saying?
I tried to tell you it was winnable, and Dallas fought hard earlier to try to make this thing interesting. But it's over and done with now. It's
No,
no
they
point
did.
in it's no point of talking hypotheticals. Oh, my man T Living just came at you. Said you always wrong.
What he said that? Did he come at me again? Did he say that?
He
Oh, he
just-
is. I'm always wrong. Hey, T Living, I appreciate you for listening, man. Hey, real talk, man. How'd you like that Reeves interception though? He's a safety. He's the first real safety that Washington had since. Oh my bad. I'm gonna leave you alone, T. I'm gonna leave you
Oh
alone.
yeah,
T. I'm gonna
T
leave you
Living, your
alone.
man didn't get signed. They still made the playoffs, so you wrong too, bro. I love you though, brother. I love you. Promise.
Love you, bro, man. Kirk Cousins still ain't get the Minnesota Vikings to the big game, but I love you though, bro. All love here, dog.
That's tough. That's tough.
I'm just saying, like, Minnesota was doing what before he got there? They went to the NFC Championship game, right? Oh snap! Oh, then yeah, that's what happened.
Come on now. Let's enjoy what just took place. Don't
You're
go
right,
back
man.
on it.
You're
Don't
right.
go backwards on
I'm
it.
not looking back. My bad. That's still my dude. But yeah, man, I think for all Washington fans, they're excited. This is an opportunity, and I feel like this is great for the young dudes to get this experience, especially the defense. I feel like they deserve almost everything coming to them because you saw in this game they gave up 14 points and they ended off. That's what it was, 14 points. They started the first half giving up 14 points, and the second half they locked down. I think we all are seeing something special in number 99. And if you haven't seen him nationally, you're seeing him all around. Like 99 is special. And I don't want to even shortchange number 90. I think as a combo in terms of the defensive ends, you don't see any better in terms of young defensive ends that can produce this type of impact.
I don't disagree. I'm upset fans are just now starting to appreciate him because I want to say rewind 10 weeks ago when you, sir, were bashing this team as the not being a playoff team. People were saying that Chase Young was a bust. He was called a bust.
I didn't
by
say a
some
bust,
Washington
though. You're not saying
No, you didn't. I said some Washington fans. And now, over the course of the past 6 weeks, it seems as though folks have come around. But it shouldn't have took this long. We knew he was special, but he proved it. To me, he sets the tone for the entire team, not just the defense.
Absolutely. I mean, you heard on the broadcast earlier they call him the Energizer Bunny. You see it in the pregame. You see it when the offense is out on the field. Seems to really be a substantial leader on the team and actually earned his C on his chest. And you talk about a dynamic playmaker. We all knew what he was capable of coming out of Ohio State and being the number 2 overall pick. So even as a division rival fan, I'm a fan of Chase Young. So I think he transcends the team. Like you said, nationally, he's gonna be the name from this team, and get used to him wrecking havoc for years and years to come in the NFC East.
But of course you're going to love him. He's PG County though. You gotta love him now. He's repping the county.
I know some people that are close to him, and I know some people that have coached him or was around him when he was at DeMatha. So, I mean, I don't know him personally, but like everything I've ever heard about him was top notch, and everything he's proven to be is top notch.
Right.
Definitely. I mean, facts. And it's an exciting time. If you're a Washington football fan, it's an exciting time. But let's go right into it. Again, the Washington football team defeated the Eagles 20-14 to become the NFC East champs. Let's go into the game. What were your thoughts on the actual game?
Take it from somebody that was supposed to be rooting against the Washington football team, which I wasn't, but watching the game, only thing that stood out to me is that Doug Peterson must know that he's getting fired tomorrow or he's stepping down.
He ain't getting fired. You know he's safe.
It's clear cut to me, Ray. I don't know what you saw. Or maybe we didn't watch the same game. I knew Jalen Hurts was struggling a little bit. I know he had the turnover, but like at that point, the game was still in the balance. The game was still right in the thick of things. And you take him out, you put Nate Sudfeld in, but you have Carson Wentz on the bench in street clothes. How does that make sense, right? So if you got Carson Wentz on the bench in street clothes, you put Nate Sudfeld in, so you had a thought in your mind that I might have to resort to my backup. Why not go to the backup that used to be the starter instead of going to the backup who was the backup to the backup, right? So now the Eagles are on the hook for over $100-some-odd million with one player. You made them draft the player in the second round. You also bench him, all in one season, right? You got some explaining to do if I'm management. And you can see me in my office tomorrow.
Right, brother. You yourself, I know you're going to get this whole NFC East pep talk, Mo. I appreciate it. But just like your boy Eli bought time in NY, Peterson got time. Once you get that ring on your finger, brother, it doesn't matter. So we're going to kill the Peterson talk for a minute because what I saw is a team that actually came out with energy, which everyone at least that I was talking with or conversing with, via text message on Twitter said this is the first time. First of all, you scored a touchdown on an opening drive. That hadn't happened all season. So that's a positive. What I didn't like, though, is the penalties. Those penalties on third down hurt. I talked about it weeks ago. You got to clean these up because this changes momentum. And it actually tilted a couple games this season in favor of the opponent. So I'm thinking that going into a playoff game against Tom Brady, who, has all the experience in the world. I personally, as a fan of Atlanta, know all of what he can do. Mm-hmm. You need to clean the penalties up. You need to not give the opponent extra opportunities to score the football. And that hurt you. It may not have been as close tonight if it wasn't for the penalties, honestly.
Yeah, they definitely. Go ahead, Mo.
I was just, Ray said that he came out with energy, right? He came out with energy, but they were up 14-10 in no time. So the defense was heavily penalized, right? Especially in the second quarter, heavily penalized. Right? I think the offense came out with energy. I think you said that the offense came out with energy because they scored on the first drive. I just think that they played a team that was decimated, right? The Washington football team did not do anything special tonight. They did what they were supposed to do. Let's not get that misconstrued because they're going to the playoffs. They did what they were supposed to do. They're playing against backups and people off the street. You would have won the playoffs last week. We'd have been on the field tonight. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, definitely, man. Look, man. Definitely, the goal wasn't about. Like I may have scored a touchdown for real because I feel like I'm talented enough.
Ray, start flexing up. Get that butt. He get real butt.
There you go. They go to work.
Calm this down.
You gotta get
down, Ray.
Slow it down.
The circumstances of today's game. The circumstances of today's game. You got your starter back. They did not have their starter dress at all. Their normal starter, right? Then Doug Peterson out there still giving out Christmas gifts.
Look, man.
The week after Christmas, and you guys were the better team, and you won the game, and you narrowly won the game. I'm not gonna say you guys.
You narrowly. A win is a win, Mo. A win is a win.
It was a sloppy win. We all are Alex Smith supporters. It was one of his. It was an ugly game for him. It was an ugly game for him.
He's not 100%. That's why.
I understand he's not 100%. No one's 100% in Week 16 of the NFL season. Actually, Eagles. That's why their whole team was out today. Okay, we're talking about Patrick Cox out, Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Miles Sanders out, lineman upon lineman. We're not going to get into all of that, but I am excited for the area. I'm excited because I remember you were saying that Ron Rivera was a culprit of what was happening. And I was saying that this man deserves a little bit more credit than that. Because you get on your high horse about the team, and then the next week you're really, really critical about them, right? Which I understand, which is kind of the pulse of the DMV all the time about this football team.
Not me.
I want us to temper expectations. Let's understand who they played today, because the GOAT's coming to town next week.
Yeah, I mean, here we go. But look, I don't think no one is like hyping this W in terms of like who they beat. Like they beat the Eagles, who decided to sit everybody. I don't think if you're a fan of this team, you're not going to look at it and say that they got in looking strong, right? You're not going to go into this game. But what we will do is go into this game feeling that you got into the postseason. You did what you had to do to get into the postseason, so you got in. I think in the game, it's a lot of sloppy play. I even tweeted out that I don't think this team deserves to win because it was that sloppy. Like every time it looked like they had the momentum, they looked like they fumbled, or they recovered their own fumble, or it would be like they threw a pick. It would be something fluke, and then the defense had to force the fumble to get the ball back. They didn't play a clean game, but but at the end of the day, for those guys in the locker room, getting to wear their NFC East hats, they felt like they accomplished something. You know what I mean? So that's what they did. You got, Chase Young, Sweat, Allen, Jonathan Allen, who's been here for how many years, come from Alabama, thought, all he knew was winning. He came here and all he felt was losing. And then now this opportunity's here. He's going to the postseason. You just feel good. You feel good for those fellas because they deserve it.
Yeah, Mo, you got to stop hating, bro. Listen, the fact of the matter is this is the type of game that Washington usually loses. They finally won a game, an ugly game. We got to give them credit. And they earned their way. That 4-game winning streak, I think, was a good indication of who they can be. It's just, like you said, everybody's injured right now. But I don't want to hear about Philly. I don't. You got a W against a team that you were supposed to beat, and that's the bottom line. I don't care how it looks. Now you got an opportunity. You are in the dance. You got your foot in the door, and you're an underdog. Nobody expects them to win this game. So no matter what, if they lose next week, no big deal. So they can go in. What I feel like with a clean slate, they can play. They can just play with this. I feel like they can play free. Put it that way. Why not? I think they've earned that right. And you have a Pro Bowler, rookie who came from Ohio State, by the way, who Ohio State just got a big win this weekend. People said they shouldn't have been there. You got a similar vibe with this team. Draw some inspiration. Go play free. Anything can happen. Any given Sunday. I told you that week. Oh, you're not learning, brother. You're not learning.
You know what I'm talking? Like your why not and your Any Given Sunday sound too much like I think we can pull this out next week.
No, we over here. I'm not a fan, bro.
Look, we don't get to that though. We don't get to the weekend wild card game. We don't get to that. You know what I mean? Because some people may be a little bullish for that game. Like I may be a little bullish for that game. I ain't gonna lie to you. I may be because there is a common theme with the type of quarterbacks. I'm not gonna talk about it. There's a common thing with the type of quarterbacks that this defense does well against compared to I'm just saying. But we're gonna get to that later. I want to stick to this game though. Alex Smith, we mentioned Alex Smith. He threw 2 touchdown passes. I believe he had was it 2 picks or 1 pick? I want to say 2 interceptions in the game. Your overall thoughts on Alex Smith in this game?
I mean, Alex just does what it takes to win, no matter how ugly, how good it has to look, no matter how ugly it has to be. Alex just does what it takes to win the game. He came out through an early touchdown to McLaurin, got everybody excited about what it could be first drive, right? We come in, we had a couple of failed drives, and then sustained another one. We threw the beautiful ball to Logan Thomas, right, in the end zone. Highly contested, only where Logan can catch it. Logan makes a great catch. I believe he was snubbed from the Pro Bowl this year, but you can't, and he was snubbed by my guy, number 88 in New York, who I don't call by name. Right? But 22 for 32, right? 162 yards, no explosive big plays that to count for, but maintain the game, manage the game. Short third down distances, and converted a couple. Even though it was a struggle for both teams to convert on third down all night. The run game got going somewhat. I mean, Antonio Gibson had 19 carries for 75 yards. He's not his usual self. We know. We know that for sure. But he averaged on under He averaged 3.9 yards per carry. I guess that was enough to sustain. It was an ugly game, like we said. You know, field position did a lot today. Some turnovers and field position was advantageous for both teams. I just think the Washington football team just made a little bit more plays than the other ones and secured themselves a spot in the playoffs. And look forward to seeing what they got to do next week.
Big ups to my man Ed. You said playing with house money. Appreciate that. What'd you say? What'd you say?
I'm just reading Mo body language. I'm saying you asked about Alex. Mo still talking about the team. I'm telling you, it's the vibe there. Vibe that NFC East rivalry is coming out. It's coming out, Mo. I feel it. But
I'm not a hater. I just don't. I don't think Alex did anything that was notable today, right?
No, he didn't.
So when I look at it, I think he played within the team. I think he played within the team for an injured quarterback. And that's how I evaluated him tonight.
Comeback player of the year. Of course, you love his story, but I don't like the fact that he doesn't take chances and he missed a wide open guy because he's just trying to make the right play as opposed to making a winning play. So he concerns me going into next week, not being 100%, and then the way he plays football. I feel as though it's easier to game plan for somebody like him, where as you know what's coming. I called the screenplay to McKissick on that third down. I knew it was coming, even though, of course, they didn't get the first down. That set up. That I want to say that was the play that set up the fourth down where he, of course, did the hard count. I'm up here doing it myself. I'm thinking that they're going to have Scott Turner in particular is going to open up the playbook. The jury's still out on Scott Turner as well. He's going to have to help Alex and put Alex in positions to win. Because right now, I don't like what they're doing offensively. And I feel as though Alex himself is trying not to make mistakes instead of trying to win the game. And that's what annoys me about him at times.
I think that's what we agree.
I mean,
today.
We agree. I think we agree. We all agree on Scott Turner. And I think Alex can play a different game if allowed to, right? And I don't think they're opening up the offense the way they need to. I know that today was a slick field. I know he's coming off an injury. I know that Terry is on one leg. I know that not McKissick, but Gibson's on one leg. So all his legitimate threats are also hurt. And then, so him being hurt and them being hurt, and coming up against the opponent that you know is inferior to you, it's keep the game simple. It's let's just do what we do. Let's get in there and let's play great defense because we know that the defense is the catalyst behind this team.
How was having Scary Terry on the field, how important was it to have him on the field for them to get this, their first NFC East title since 2015? How important was it to have him on the field?
I think very important. I think, as you saw, Darius Slay shadowed him all night. And that literally took one of the elite corners in the league away from making plays elsewhere, whether Terry was getting the ball or not, right? And I think that's the effect of a player like Terry McLaurin because everybody knows what he can do with opportunity. So I think that took away a premier player for the Eagles who were missing players already and making them have to match up on Terry, even though we knew that there wasn't going to be too many deep shots to Terry down the field.
Right, what did you think?
He helps to keep the defense honest. That's how I'm gonna sum it up pretty much, and he helps the game as well when you have to ensure that you're covering the number one guy that opens up the field for other players. And Antonio Gibson, although banged up, he benefited from that. There was some nice holes, and I don't like the trick plays going back to Scott Turner.
Oh my God, I hate him. No, I'm with you. I think Scott Turner. I've said, Ray, you already know how I feel about Scott Turner as an offensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
But it needs work. I do think that some of it was in play with that Alex even with that calf is not healthy. I mean, it is what it is. And we're gonna talk about the next, the playoff game. But Alex, that version of Alex will not be effective against Tampa. Like that version of Alex. Like Alex has and he needs another week to get healthy, but that version won't do it. It won't cut it. Because that version, even the smallest hit takes him down, and he's a little bit, and you can tell he's aware of his injury. Like he's totally aware of his injury, and he's quick to go down because of it. So that's gonna be a problem because he's gonna need to trust that even more, especially if he wants to take those shots down the field because you need to plan. He's gonna need to plan, to make the real big throws. And Tampa, and we said it. That Tampa likes to bring pressure. And I don't want to get into Tampa right now, but you know what I mean. Like Alex has to be a little better if he wants this team to have some type of run.
I think it starts with practice. You know what I mean? He has to practice all week. And if he doesn't practice all week, it's kind of hard to, like, he's already limited because of the injury. We already know that he has a history of being checked down Charlie, right? So in order to throw those things into the game plan, Alex has to practice all week, and all his tools have to be there also. You can't have a week where Terry McLaurin doesn't know if he's going to play until the last minute and all that. All those things are factors that go into it, right? Like, that we know of. So you can't expect Alex to be anything else than what he's shown you. When Alex had Tyreek Hill, for God's sake, the man was checking down the ball. You know what I mean? Like, we got to accept him for what he is. At his best, with the best, he still was what he is. Right.
And even that though, right? I like that, I've always stated, like, we are, like, I don't have an issue with checking down unless, if you do it to a certain extent where you don't take shots, because you still got to take shots to open things up. But people forget, because Tom Brady, his first year when he won the bowl, he was a check down dude too. When he beat the Rams, he was a check down dude. He didn't go deep. He was a check down Charlie type dude. It just got to a point he did what he had to do.
Look at the
Russell Wilson too.
Yeah, Russell did. So
look at the commonalities between those two. Bona fide defense.
That's what it is. Yeah.
The football team has. Keep you in the game, take my shots, make one play or change the game. One play or change the game. But I can't come in with a game plan where I'm going to be outside of myself just because we've made it to a spot that most
I agree.
Has to be, right?
I agree.
And then I become an ugly version of myself.
That's the problem. You're ugly. And this is the issue with the check down thing. It's cool. And I mean, I have no issue with you check down if you're going ahead of the chains, you're getting 5 yards. I'm fine with that. That doesn't bother me. But there's an issue when now, if you compound that, we're not being mobile enough. So like what helped Alex was that he can still check down, but he can also use his legs to give you 5-6 yards if something doesn't break through. Now he's not able to do that. So now he's just limited into the check down, and teams are now playing the check down. That's an issue for him. So that's more of my issue with Alex. But what we saw when his first couple games starting, he was willing, truth be told, to stretch the field. But since this injury, he's not willing at all. Like he's really taking the flat routes to McKissick a lot more. He's doing the same with he's hitting Logan Thomas a lot, and I'm sure fans are very happy with that. But if you looked at what he was doing initially in the beginning as a starter, he was going deeper to Cam Sims. He was hitting Scary Terry a little bit deeper.
I think we're equating that to just the injury, but we have to talk about the woes that the offensive line has. Like
that too. Mm-hmm.
The Eagles were getting pressure earlier with their backups. Like it's not the recipe for success. And they were getting
interior.
Yes,
they were.
No Fletcher Cox on the field. That was problematic early on.
I think that was Brandon Sheriff's worst game. I'm only lying. I think it was the worst game this season.
And Brandon Sheriff is one part of the 3 linemen that's in the interior. So I can't believe it on him because I know he has a lot of responsibility, right? So you got linemen false starting, you got holding penalties. There's a lot that comes in with that. Like the Washington football team can't be their best selves right now because 1, they have injuries. 2, they're very, very limited in what they can call because of who's available to them. Who's available? This is where I hate to bring up a former player, but this is where if Haskins had any kind of skill, I think he had a good arm. This is where Haskins understood the game a little bit more. He would have realized that the difference between him and his competitor is that he can take those shots down the field. He has that cannon arm to make 1 or 2 plays during the game that makes up for all the ones that he probably missed or something like that, right? Because he has this ability, and he should have this connection with McLaurin coming from Ohio State to make the defense have to back up. That's a fundamental part of football that most people don't account for. You just have to make the defense back up, right? And I learned that in my coaching. You gotta find ways to make your most successful plays come alive in different formations and make that defense just back up a little bit. Give your playmakers an opportunity to get the ball in space, get up the field, and move the chains. And
I I don't know if you start Alex this week. And at this point, we should not be questioning Riverboat Ron. Let him make the decisions he needs to make.
Of course.
But I wouldn't even announce a starter really until maybe towards the end of the week, because you got to keep Tampa guessing. I really think that you have to find any type of leverage you can going into this game, knowing that you're the underdog and knowing that your offensive line, your team is banged up, your running back situation is not the greatest right now. So I'm thinking that right now he's got a decision to make. It's not just cut and dry. Alex got us here. He's gonna lead us in this playoff game. I might consider making a change just because it's not just his leg affecting him in the pocket. It's also affecting him on the run. He looked worse passing on the run tonight.
Oh, so it was terrible, man. You listen to all Burgundy and Gold everything with the Urban Sports team. So let's go right to the playoff game. Washington takes on Tampa, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC wild card game over the weekend. This team are big underdogs in this game. And Ray, you talked about that already. What are their chances of shocking the world?
I feel as though it's greater than a 50-50 chance for the simple fact that if you can get pressure on Tom Brady at 43 years old, Glenn, he got you by 1 year, bro. You could be out there playing football still, baby. Listen, you can get pressure on Tom Brady. We've seen this season. You can make him uncomfortable. If you also contain the tight end situation in Tampa, which has not been the Washington football team's strong suit, then you give yourself an opportunity. And the strength of this football team is their front four on defense. This team can get pressure. However, I would like to see them finish a bit more sacks. Tom Brady he's crafty in the pocket. He knows how to step up. He can sense the rush. If you can get him down, if you can get batted balls, if you can win the matchup up front, you will have an opportunity to win. Bottom line.
That matchup up front is going to be key. And I'm going to take it to the interior. Forget Chase and Sweat this game, because it ain't a matter of anybody getting running from them, right? It's about Allen and Payne generating internal pressure so that Tom Brady has nowhere to step up. Because what Tom Brady wants to get the ball out quick, even in this offense, right? And I think the Washington football team got another gift today, but I'm not certain of it. I think Mike Evans, after he
knee
broke
injury,
he had a knee he had a hyperextension of his knee. So that's a big weapon out of the offense. But luckily for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they got a multitude of weapons. And that just tells me that Antonio Brown is going to be a big part of the game plan. And the last time I seen him at FedEx Field, he was auditioning for Stadium Nightclub in the end zone. So I'm not too excited about this matchup for the Washington football team. I'm going to tell you that.
This is where I'm bullish. I am very excited about this matchup. This is a matchup I actually preferred over a couple of teams because of matchups. The main thing we're talking about is matchups. We're not even talking about Brady. Brady versus decent defenses this year, good defenses this season defensive fronts has struggled. He hasn't been lighting it up against good defenses. A lot of times we're going off of when Brady's putting up these stats over the last couple of weeks. You name the defense, and I can tell you they're low. They're the bottom of the barrel defense if you look at stats. Now, if you look at the defense that he played against that were tough. Look at the Rams and so forth, and defensive fronts that have been having dominant figures. He has struggled this year. Like, he hasn't been good. He has struggled. So if you do put pressure on Tom Brady, and this is I'm talking about, Brady has had the same amount of talent throughout the year, throughout this season. So let's not talk about, like, he's had Mike Evans for how long? He's had OJ's out. He has Gronk. He's had Antonio Brown for most of the season, and still hasn't put up. It wasn't like he's been lighting it up. I'm just being real. Like, he hasn't been lighting it up. This Washington defense, we can talk about their offense, but this defense has been good. And Brady, if we're being real in terms of defense against offense, and we're looking at what Tampa has done against good defenses, then we can say, you know what, this matchup works well, because as a defensive unit, that interior, the dudes that you mentioned, they get pushed inside. And for years, we already know that the way to get to Brady is getting pushed from in the inside. And this defensive unit does that with Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne.
Bruce Arians wanted this matchup. He wanted to play the winner of the NFC East. This is why he had his starting players out, and it might just come back to bite him. I think that was a mistake. He should have rested his team. They already secured a playoff spot, but he wanted the NFC East, and now you got one of the best front fours in football. It's going to be a problem. I'm not gonna make my prediction yet, Mo. I'm feeling it though, baby. I'm feeling it.
But also, I want to say this though: in football, and we talk about playoffs, right? What typically helps a team win football games? Though we talking about it's cold in December. What wins? What wins? Is it offense or defense? Typically,
I think.
I'm gonna say, yeah. Go ahead.
I think you guys.
Forget about Godwin though.
I think you guys.
I like Godwin.
A lot of WFT juice tonight, and you guys are.
Hey man, Mo, you said the same thing about Pittsburgh, bro. I'm just trying to help you out. You said the same thing about Pitt, man.
Let's say this. That was my only prediction that was wrong all year.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I'm just telling you. I'm not giving a prediction of the game. See, I'm not giving a prediction. I told you in all these games, like it's about competing. I said Pittsburgh. I just want them to compete. This game we're talking about. It will not be a laugh. It won't be a laugher. Like it won't be a laugher. It won't be a laugher because they will get pressure on Brady.
They are.
Both of them.
You're worried about them. You getting pressure on Brady. They are going to blitz Alex Smith or.
Yeah, I'm not even going on that side of the. I haven't been going on that side of the ball. I'm telling you what they're going to do to Brady. What they're going to do to Brady.
Call that young man. They are coming after him. Believe that. Yeah. If you think
so, are they coming after? Are they coming after Brady? Are they coming after Brady though?
They should come after Brady. They should come after Brady. But if you think that this young man, he starts his first game, he's going to start. It's going to be in the playoffs, and Todd Bowles is just going to sit there and say, you know what? Let's give him an opportunity. They're going to pressure him all game. JPP is a Pro Bowler this year. Shaq Barrett led the league in sacks last year, right? Mm-hmm. Their two linebackers in the middle are studs. Levante Davis. The only thing that the Washington football team has that they can exploit against Tampa Bay is their secondary. But they have to get that opportunity to throw the ball a little bit further than check down Charlie would ever throw it. And I don't see that. And
all right. So I'm with you. So the Chicago Bears, right? Their offense was Nick Foles. It wasn't that good. It wasn't that good for real. They beat Tampa. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With all those weapons.
I watched it. Yeah,
and their offense at that time, with Nick Foles at that time was abysmal.
Man, look, you can point to the games to make your argument. I get it. You don't have Khalil Mack. You don't have Akeem Hicks. You don't have Akeem Hicks. You don't have Khalil Mack.
But they're ranked better. The Washington football team defense is ranked better.
Mo, let me ask you this. Whose defense is better? The Saints or Washington? And the Saints dominated Tampa twice this season.
But you know what else the Saints can do that you guys can't do? The Saints can put points on the board in a hurry that's going to pressure you in another way. Don't forget that part. Don't forget that Drew Brees, when you mess up, is going to go score immediately.
We're talking about the strength of this football team. Is the strength of Tampa their defense? No, it is not. It's their offense. And the strength of Washington is their defense. So we're talking about Washington's defense versus Tampa's offense. That's what that play here.
Based on the top defenses that they have faced. I understand that. You guys don't have good linebacker play. You guys don't have good linebacker play, and there's a Gronkowski on the way.
Okay? Call the Baltimore
Ravens. So you make sense. So you think this offense is going to dominate this defense? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Like this Tampa offense is going to dominate this Washington defense? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Tampa's going.
That's what I'm trying to get. That's what I guess what I'm looking at.
Tampa's going to score 30.
Okay, I could take that bet 24/7. They're not scoring 30.
Tampa's going to score 30.
They're not scoring 30 on this defense.
Ron Jones,
I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna go that far because anything, like I said, anything can happen. However, again, I just mentioned Baltimore because Baltimore for years had a strong defense, bad offense, and when they went to Foxborough, they never beat Brady. They went at him, and I'm telling you, if that same philosophy applies to this Washington football team, it's going to be a game, bro. And I'm not thinking it's going to be a game.
Ravens led by Ray
Joe
Lewis.
Flacco. Okay. Yeah, Joe Flacco and Ray Lewis.
Okay.
We do so we do understand that. All right, real talk. We do understand that Chase Young is a once in a generation talent, right? We do know that Chase Young is a once in a generation talent. We do know that, right?
Well,
like, real talk.
Well, give me one. You're talking about once in a generation talent, right? Why is it that once in a generation talents come out every draft? Let me tell you what them Ravens had. Let me stop you. Them Ravens had future Hall of Famer Terrell Suggs, future Hall of Famer Haloti Ngata, future Hall of Famer Ray Lewis, future Hall of Famer Ed Reed. That's just those. We're gonna talk about another All-Pro Chris McAllister, maybe All-Pro Bart Scott before he went to New York. We're gonna talk about any linebacker that they put next to Ray Lewis, any one of them. Come on, man. Then they started putting the young boy in there. They put C.J. Mosley in there. Come on, guys.
Here's why I can't agree with you on that one.
The problem with the Washington football team defense is they don't have the linebacker play to keep up with the elite teams. I'm gonna tell you that straight off.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree that the personnel is different. However, Baltimore, no matter who they plugged in, they look good. The coaches, they had Marvin Lewis, they had Rex Ryan. You got two defensive coaches, Washington, historically, and Del Rio and Ron Rivera, who they know how to coach defense. No matter where they go, their defensive play is always good. That's the commonality. Whoever you plug in, this is why Cameron Curl is now excelling. I'm telling you.
Why did Del Rio get fired from the Broncos?
As a head coach.
No, he was a defensive coordinator. He was a defensive coordinator in Denver. Why did he get fired from there?
But he's always been a good defensive coordinator.
Okay, you got many
people get fired. Like Greg Williams has been a good been a good one. Like people get fired. Like I don't even knock that. People get fired. But like at the end of the day, like really, I'm just talking about what this team has talent wise. Jonathan Allen is just as talented as any defensive tackle in the game. You got Deron Payne who can do some slick things at his size and is one of the better defensive tackles in the game, even at the young age. You rotating that with Tim Settle, who had like 6, 7 sacks as your backup who can start on multiple teams. Sweat and Young are talented dudes that will get pressure on any left tackle. So I'm just saying, like
cut it out.
Look at his stats. He's got 7. Look at his team. He can start on Ray. What team can he start on? Ray. He start on Atlanta, right?
You're looking at it from a stats point. Don't look at it from a stats point. Look at it from
Tim Settle can start on any team, bro. Like on any team.
Because Tim Settle he's the one that gives you the breather. Tim Settle can play on this team because Chase Young and Sweat are still on the outside. Let's be serious, guys.
Tim Settle's inside. He's the inside. He's a D tackle. Tim Settle can play on any team. He plays inside and gets sacks. He gets inside and gets sacks. Bro, Tim Settle was and we forget in Virginia Tech, Tim Settle was like that dude in V Tech. Like Tim Settle would start on multiple teams, bro. Real talk. He could start on multiple teams. You had that. Like, what you got Payne. Look, you got Payne, Allen.
I agree with that.
Payne, Allen, Sweat, and even Ryan. Well, Ryan Kerrigan is your rotational guy. And not to say he should start, but he's a rotational guy. They are good enough to get pressure on Tom Brady. Like let's constant pressure on Tom Brady.
No one said they wouldn't do that. I said they probably might do that.
So when you do that to Tom, like historically speaking, if you put constant pressure on Tom doesn't play well. That is historically speaking. If you put constant pressure on Tom Brady, he doesn't play well. I'm not even talking about Washington's offense. I get where you're going with that. I am talking about the matchup between the Tampa Bay offense and the Washington defense. That's the matchup I'm referring to. That's what I'm saying. That is a matchup. So you're telling me that they're going to score 30 on that defense. And I am telling you that I can't see that offense going 30 on this defense. And this defense, if we're going to be real from a particular point on, they have been playing they've been playing solid defense. And then you're taking away the mobility aspect away from when they have issues with. This dude is immobile. They do very, very well against non-mobile quarterbacks. That makes it even easier for them. That's all I'm saying.
I look at it like this. The Eagles had an opportunity to hang 2 more touchdowns on y'all today that they did not because of their lunacy. Period. Right? Period. So that would have been 28 tonight with the Eagles and their backup people. Yeah, you're telling me Tom Brady 430 on you guys.
I want to use this game as an example because I feel as though Washington played down to the competition today.
I know that.
Yeah, they did. They played horrible.
So to me, we cannot judge off this game. Look at their best games this season. Pittsburgh, it being one. Pittsburgh getting a top 10. Dallas being another game where the game in Dallas, you saw what that defense did. They created.
Look at their worst games, Ray. That's why it's on tape. I'm just saying we We can't make this an advantageous argument. We have to take the averages. That's why we have the laws of averages.
Yeah, I take that. Yeah, exactly.
Against Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, mobile quarterbacks. That's his whole argument. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm telling you. If you're going, I'm telling you, mobile quarterbacks. I'm not going to argue. They do well against Washington. I'm not going to argue that they do well. The non-mobile quarterbacks, they struggle. That's all I'm telling you. They don't put up the same numbers as a Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson, or even they don't do the same. They don't do the same work, bro. They don't do the same work on this defensive line.
Matt Stafford is a mobile quarterback.
Matt Stafford mobile enough, but he didn't even. But Matt Stafford was mobile enough. But what was his numbers in that game? You talking about the Chase Young when Chase Young had the 15-yard penalty? The reason why
that game is indoors. That game was indoors. This is a whole different animal. Go ahead though.
So you talking about the Chase Young play that?
I'm not talking about
the field goal.
I'm talking about
that's the Stafford game. That's the W though. That's the W that if we're gonna go into the game, we're gonna talk about that game.
I was talking about
them the W.
Stafford's played in that game. I was you.
How much they score in that game? How much they score in that game?
30, I believe. If I'm not mistaken.
They scored 30.
What you mean?
They may have.
They scored 30. They scored 30 because they lost by a field. They ain't scored 30.
They lost by a field goal, 30 to 20.
They scored 30. They scored 30. They ain't scored 30.
Let's see.
They didn't score 30.
All right. We'll figure it out in a minute.
It was close. If it wasn't 30, it was close. I ain't gonna lie. I'm looking at it now.
The Lions scored 30 to 27.
30 on the dot. They scored 30 on the dot. They did. But again, they scored at the end of that game. It was a penalty.
Is Jared Goff?
Is Jared Goff quarterback? Hold on. I don't even think that's the best example.
They scored 13, right? How much they scored in that game? You mean the rain game? The rain game was the rain game?
Jared Goff scored 30.
Against the Rams? The Rams scored 30.
The Rams scored.
What was the score of that game? What scored that game? They scored 30. They scored Ram 30 to what?
30 to 10.
And that game was the rain game. The one that Alex Smith played in. And he scored a 30. There wasn't a fumble or whatnot. They scored 30 on
Jared Goff.
I'll be honest with you. The non-mobile quarterback who had the best touchdowns Washington was Joe Burrow. He, in my opinion,
that's the best one. That's the best real game.
He had the best success because, bro, in the Matthew Stafford game, you talking about Alex Smith threw almost 60 times and had no touchdown. He threw 55 times that game and they did not score. I will say this because going to Mo's point, Mo has been trying to say that the offense is not good enough, basically. Now, a lot of times when teams do put up a lot of points against Washington, it's because the offense puts the defense in bad positions.
Exactly.
So I will agree with that. So that may play a role. That may play a role in this game. I'm not going to ignore that. Yeah. However, I was just coming from the perspective, just as Wole just mentioned, that we're going against. We're talking about the two team strengths. We got the defense for Washington going against the offense for Tampa. That's it. But it's both sides of the ball have to be strong. Special teams, you got to get Steven Sims Jr. out of there probably as well. I would replace him out of there. Oh, I will replace him ASAP as well. So we will see. I think again, you have to play to your strengths, and your strength is defense. You got to get pressure. That's going to be the most important aspect of this game. Washington wants to be competitive.
Do you think Scary Terry going to be healthy enough to play? To play even better that game?
Your training staff got to get them ready. Training staff got to be better, right?
I think if the game was, if everything wasn't up today, all the marbles on the line there, I think he sits out. And let's say the Washington football team secured the playoffs last week. He rests this week and he gets ready for the playoff game. But I think his presence was definitely needed, as we discussed earlier, right? We just talk about the threat of him being on the field and taking away the best corner on the other team, and the threat of I have to put my best corner on him because he can take the top off the defense at any time. But a high ankle sprain is normally a 4 to 6 week injury, right? We know we've seen people come back earlier, but we know they're not themselves, and his wheels are a big part of his game.
Definitely. I think they need a healthy Scary Terry in this game. Actually, they got playmakers. I mean, Tampa's secondary ain't the best, but they got playmakers too. They got dudes, Winfield's son, who kind of puts in work. I like him, man. I like him a lot. So they got to be very careful. They got to be very careful with that secondary.
I think that's it. Winfield's son is it though. Like the corners are trash. Like Scary Terry can ruin people. He can ruin. It can really be a scary night.
Yeah, and also too the speed of the linebacking core in Tampa. I think that you're gonna have to try to test if you get time in the pocket. You're gonna have to try to get it to the second level because the linebackers are fast and they can react to those passes to McKissick in the flat. They don't. I feel like they're fast. They fast. Yeah, and they rally to the ball.
And the last thing, the thing that people don't talk about, those two interior linebackers, Levante David and
I love Dave and White.
Devin White.
White a beast.
They're some of the best blitzing linebackers in the league from the middle of the field. So that's another wrinkle to Todd Bowles' defense that will be employed to make sure that that Alex doesn't have all day back there. Right.
Well, as I'm saying, yeah, I agree. I think White is a problem. I think White is a serious. David is a beast too. Don't get it twisted. But White is emerging as that dude. I think White is a guy that can give this team, this defense, a lot of issues, especially again with the things that Alex likes to do. So, and like you mentioned, blitzing too, man. Blitzing is going to be a problem if if the backs don't pick it up, if they if they are blitzing, and another thing if Alex isn't willing to kind of take it to the next level.
I think that
this is the game they need to.
I think that Logan Thomas has negated this game. I think we can cancel him out a lot this game between the linebackers and the single coverage that they use with Winfield Jr. because of the way that they blitz and how he's doing against tight ends. I'm very interested in seeing how all of these flat passes are going to do against.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. That's what I'm interested in.
How this Dinkin and Duncan is going to look against them. I think it plays into their favor. I think that defense really wants everything in front of them because they don't want nobody to get behind them because everybody can get behind them. And like we've seen every team get deep on Tampa. So I'm hoping just for seeing good football's sake, I'm hoping that Terry can play. I hope he's at a better rate than he was today. And even if he's not, I'm hoping that Cam Sims can step up to the plate and make a couple of plays against DBs that are like when we look at the level of receiver that Cam Sims is, that's the level of DB that's going to be in front of him. And I think he can win. And I think he can win with his size and his explosiveness and the coverage going over to Terry McLaurin's side, right? So I want to see him come alive because we know the middle of the field is going to be negated. The middle of the field is done with. I'm willing to put.
It's my man Sambino guy. Go ahead, Mo.
I'm willing to put everything that I know about football up on the line about the middle of the field being negated on Saturday night. Like from me playing when I was a kid to high school to the little bit of college that I had to the coaching that I've done over the high school coaching that I've done, the middle of the field is gone with those two linebackers. You can cancel Christmas on that and that pass rush. So Cam Sims is going to have to win on the outside. Terry's going to have to win because he's just better than the person that's lined up in front of him, right? And even if he's not 100%, we know what he can do. We know what he can do. And it's going to take those kind of shots from Alex to win this game because right now the running game is not where it wants to be, and I don't see them if this game gets out of hand the way I know Tampa's offense can score. I don't see the run game being a big part of this either. Now the middle of the field and the run game is gone. It's going to get ugly quick if it goes that way because if they can't sustain the run game, they can't keep Tampa on the field. That's going to mean that Tampa Bay's offense is on the field. And if Tampa Bay's offense is on the field more times than not, they're going to score something. So in order for the Washington football team to win, they have to sustain a run game or just force a run game to keep them at bay because Todd Bowles is just going to send everybody. We've seen him do it time and time again.
Hey, Sambino said he don't know how Ron Rivera got this team to the playoffs. And he also nominated for Coach of the Year. Not going to argue with that. I love the fact that he's now been able to have more autonomy over this franchise. Dan Snyder got enough to deal with. He like, bro, you deal with the football side of things. Finally, he seemed like he's relinquishing some control. I don't know if I can necessarily agree with him being Coach of the Year, but brother, with what he dealt with personally, you got to really give him credit for the job he's done this season. I didn't always understand what he was trying to do early on. It was a bit confused. I think his messages were a little mixed. Nothing wrong with saying that. But overall, we saw this was a possibility, and now it finally happens. And, bro, Just like Glenn said in the comments, you hired a new training staff. This is what you did it for. You got some banged up players in key positions, quarterback, running back. Got to get these guys ready. You have to have these guys prepared. And this is what you live for, a home playoff game. I'm so sad for you Washington fans that you can't be in the stadium. It's messed up. You finally get a playoff game, you can't even be there. It's terrible. But you know what though?
Trash.
It's what
That,
it's what
bro.
we're dealing with. We're gonna spark up a petition. Angela also Brooks, can we just have an exception for this week? 50% capacity. Just 50% capacity
COVID win,
will
man.
work.
COVID win.
Now, remember LeVar Arrington? LeVar Arrington, he ended the career of somebody. I ain't gonna say who. Could Chase Young do that to Tom Brady? Could he knock him down to end his career this week?
Oh, bro. I mean, that's a whole
I mean, the
different
man's
beast,
43.
man.
He's 43 years old. You know what I mean?
That's a whole different beast, man. I mean, again, that's the monster, man. That's the predator. I'm happy. I want to see how he's going to play in this game. I'm really interested to see how Chase plays in this game. I feel like he's the type of dude that plays big in big games. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he ain't shy about the lights. Like he definitely has his own motivation when it comes to games like that. He knows he's playing against the GOAT in terms of quarterbacks. This is the game that everybody's going to be watching. They got an opportunity. They're going to see him, all eyes on me. And from what I've seen, we've seen in Thanksgiving Day, we've seen him on games where, you know, the bright lights against like the Steelers, like he shows out, man. Like he does show out. He plays up for these games. So I'm interested to see how he plays on that weekend. You know, where everybody's watching. He's on national TV. He ain't shy.
Jalen Hurts is a believer. Jalen Hurts is a believer. You see how fast he ran Jalen Hurts down?
Yeah, he tracked him. He tracked him.
He looks so much more mobile against other defenders, other linemen. But when Chase came after, it was no getting away, Slim. I'm telling you, it's real. You have a game change on defense. The last time you played Tampa in the playoffs, you had another game change on defense, and that made a huge difference in that game. That's right.
That's true.
Sean Taylor, RIP, baby.
Yeah. RIP, bro.
They better keep wearing that Sean Taylor white on white if they don't think this gonna ride out. I mean, get all the luck. Put the white on white on. Put the white on white.
It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good game.
Do.
Look, man, what did Rasheed say, dog? Both teams play hard, man. That's what Rasheed used to tell. Both teams play hard. But keys to a victory, like what do they need to do to ensure to get the upset? I'm gonna start with you, Mo.
Sustain the run game, man. Sustain the run game. I don't care how you do it. Sustain the run game. Keep time off the field and pressure time. That's what it comes down to. Offense got to hit. Offense got to hit when they can, and make a play or two. Because the defense always takes care of the business. I mean, this defense is stout, man, and their work needs to be rewarded. And if I'm just being objective as possible, like this defense is stout. This defense is different. Give them an opportunity to win the game for you. Do not lose the game for them.
I agree with that. Ray?
And Ron, we trust, right? Ron, you're going to have to make a decision at quarterback, my friend. Even if it doesn't look popular with everyone, you need to pull Alex if he's not able to be 100%. You need to go into this game knowing it's an opportunity to win and to give experience to your young guys on defense. Also, Scott Turner, dude, eliminate the trick plays, please. And come up with a game plan that is helpful if Alex is in the lineup. Scott Turner has been, again, he hasn't been the best all season. This is an opportunity on the biggest stage to redeem yourself. So coaching is going to be huge. And of course, Gronkowski, the tight ends, Cameron Brate, right? I believe he's still playing.
Yeah, he is.
You have to cover the middle of the field. Mo mentioned earlier, your linebackers, I'm sorry, is probably your weakness on defense.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you put your players in the best position on defense. And I'm talking about Kerrigan not dropping back into coverage. I don't want to see those things in a
you don't see that anymore
against the GOAT.
Yeah, you don't see that type of stuff anymore. I think these are games for the young dudes to kind of get that experience. I like Curl. I think Curl the matchup on Gronk. I think you'll see Curl on Gronk a lot, and he's played well. He did a good job against Ertz today. So having Curl on those tight ends is going to be a thing that hopefully it's on the side of the Washington football team. But to everybody's point, man, one, get constant pressure on time, make it very uncomfortable. And it's not just Chase, to be honest with you, just because of track record. This is the game that the Bama Wall has to show out thoroughly. You know what I mean? And they played John Allen has been great this season, but you got to show out. This has got to be the game where you stamping on everything to say, you know what, I am here, like for the whole world to see that I am here. And Scott Turner, if Alex is going to be the guy, you got to come up with plays that are effective and efficient. Like I'm with you, Ray. The trick plays, it's cool one, but when you start to do multiple trick, you got to cut it out, because all they're doing is most of the time will give you negative plays. So you got to kind of like come up with a game plan in terms of designing plays to be more successful. And then for Alex, and I said this, that version of Alex doesn't do anything against Tampa, because at the end of the day, you still got to score something to beat that Tampa team. Because even Brady, you don't get Brady that many opportunities. The goal is to have Brady not get that many opportunities. So they need to sustain drives. So Alex was going to have to be able to sustain drives, and he's not healthy enough to sustain drives. Then that's going to be a big problem for the defense. Because again, defenses get weaker when they're on the field 24/7. So you want to sustain drives. So it's going to be up to Alex. The run game, which I know Scott Turner is a value, so I don't know how to even dissect that, because he typically wants to throw the football anyway. But they're going to have to run the football, and they have to play the time of the possession game. I know it sounds so prehistoric to say this, but the owning that possession, owning the time of possession is important. Run the football, playing solid defense. We've seen this in years in the postseason. This can beat very good teams. This can deliver upsets if you run with this formula. If you try to do something else, you try to outscore Tom Brady, that's when you fail. If you win the time of possession game, you can be successful.
I heard you guys say the word experience for the young guys, and then I heard you guys say something like, Ray said something about Ron picking between the quarterback. You're going to make this a horrible experience if you start Heineke. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. Don't do that.
But even if he's not healthy, if he plays like he's not, like he looks like this.
Heineke ain't giving this team anything. Mm-hmm. Let's not fool ourselves, guys. You can come in and spell a quarterback that they didn't when they don't got no film on you. The little bit of film that he put on tape the last week, that's enough. They're gonna figure that out. Trust me, you don't want Heineke out there like that. If you his name, Alex Smith is gonna have to be healthy. Knock on wood, he's healthy. Let's make sure that
he's not healthy. I don't know if he's gonna be healthy. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather take a backup at 100% than throw him out there.
What has been my deciding factor between a win and a loss for the
Alex? It's been Alex, and it's been Alex. It's been all Alex.
Like I said, I'm not a hater, right? But when we were talking about this matchup, when we was talking about this, I don't see Alex Smith healthy for the rest of this season. Mm-hmm. So because I don't see him healthy for the rest of the season, I don't see a chance for the Washington football team to continue to advance. Mm-hmm. And then when I look at who you're playing, the style that you guys want to play, and the way that they're going to force you guys to play, and what you're probably going to be left with, it's hard to see them come out on the other end of this victory. We could talk hypotheticals. I know we're prognosticators, and that's what we're here to do. Mm. But we watch enough football to know that if Alex Smith is not his best self or close to a good version of him, this team is in trouble. I don't
argue that.
This team is in trouble, and that's all I'm gonna say. They're in trouble.
I don't argue that. You know what I mean? You know I've been pro Alex, so I don't argue that. I think this team's better when they have a healthy Alex. You know what I mean? I think we all can see that, but I just think that you're not going to have. I feel like Heineke is better than this version of Alex. I guess I think maybe better than maybe. Let me say this. Let me go back. Maybe better than this version of Alex.
Please put maybe on that. Put the maybe on that. That whatever. Check mark, whatever. Please don't say that definite. Don't make that a definite.
Maybe. I ain't gonna say definite.
Scared money don't make money. Listen here. I called this team is going to the playoffs since week 5. I can say what I want. If they lose, they made it. I told you. And I told you. So it don't make a difference. So listen, if they lose with Heineke, they supposed to. If they lose with Alex, they supposed to. But here's the thing. They got the best front four in football. I'm going to say that. Bam.
I believe it, though. I believe that, though. That I do believe. Give me a score prediction before we go. Give me a score prediction before we jet out.
I'm not arguing that.
5-1 with Alex as starter. That's what I'm talking about, man. 5-1 is Alex as the starter. That's what's up. All right, Mo. Predictions, Mo, before you jet out the show.
Give me Tampa by 10.
Tampa by 10. What the score? You got them 30. 30, so 30 to 20. Think they scoring 20?
Either 31 or 35 to.
You got Washington going 20? I give you. That's what's up, man. I don't even know. Oh, go ahead, man. Well, they got to score 20. That's the average. 20 is the average.
By 10. I didn't.
Average.
I said at least by 10.
By 10. At least. Got you. Respect. Got you. All right.
At the very least.
as much as I like the story of Washington, as much as I've been an advocate for them to make the playoffs, I think the point spread is 7.5.
7.5, yeah.
I believe that Tampa wins by 7, 27-20.
Let me tell you what Ray is saying. The chapter is closing on this team. Okay? The book.
Hey, look at my man. Look at my man Mo. Hey, y'all go ahead. I'm going to be the bullish one, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be the bullish
story
one.
just beginning, Mo. It's just beginning.
Yeah, so I'm going to get bullish. I'm going to say what? Because there's an average that they typically score when they win football games. So I'm going to say 23 Washington, Tampa 17.
Where the 23 going to come from?
I don't worry about it. 23-17. That's going to fix their sack fumbles, man. That's everything. They're going to get turnovers. Brady has turned the ball over enough with pick sixes. So I feel like there's a 23-17. There is going to be a defensive play that's going to be key in this game. Best believe it, bro.
I'm sending the authorities.
Chase coming.
Chase
coming.
I'm sending the authorities over to your house. You need to take a breathalyzer.
All right, man. Look, been there, done that. All right, so here we go. But yeah, 23-17. We're gonna make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So everybody got their predictions. Hopefully, if they do win, we back on. See, I got to add an incentive. If they win, we back on doing this again for like a couple other shows, man. So you should want this to happen.
We on doing
We'll see you next week, Mo. We'll see you next
That's a guarantee. Week. That's a guarantee. We'll see you next week. But if they win, we see you again after that.
We're going to do this regardless, man. We're going to talk about this team into the offseason, into the draft, into training camp, all of that, man. It just makes.
I'm talking about that. I'm talking about that post game work, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about that post game work, though.
I mean, we're going to have a post game next week regardless.
I'm talking about after that. If they win, we get an extra one, though. That's what I'm saying, bro. So we get an extra one. Extra, dog. Extra, dog.
God bless.
But it is what it is, though.
God bless them, man.
Hey, man. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, the Google Podcast. Just search all Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene. Also, tweet us at, you like the new name, right, Ray? You know what I'm saying? I'm teaching myself. Me too, dog. Me too. Also, tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. Hey, thank you all for listening. We appreciate y'all. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, 4 ages. You dig? Deuces. Hey, mega leaders out, big homie.